judge to ding Justin's team financially. But JB has pointed the finger back. Of course, this is all, and you two set this all up. You're the one making these accusations and owning them.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds just got destroyed by their own lawyer after they tried roping him into a shady legal scheme to save face.
So you don't get to just throw your power around and keep demanding that it's frivolous and to go away. And
the couple thought using him as a shield would protect their image, but instead, he exposed their entire plan in one brutal move. Now, the scandal they tried to bury is blowing up louder than ever.
Miss Lively and Mr. Reynolds are now seeking sanctions on the purported ground that certain allegations in their complaint are frivolous. In fact, it is Mr. Reynolds and Miss Lively's sanctions motion.
So here's where the story takes a sharp turn, and not in Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' favor. Their own lawyer, the one who was supposed to defend them, allegedly turned against them.
Ryan Reynolds is now trying to bully the court to try to put financial pressure on Justin Baldoni to drop what he's calling the frivolous lawsuit.
And the reason? Blake and Ryan were apparently trying to use him like a puppet, pushing him to file financial sanctions against Justin Baldoni just to shut him up. Not to win a case, not to defend the truth, just to bury it.
This is all absolutely valid. This is not frivolous. He is demanding that they hold on to these documents so that he can do his discovery.
But their lawyer wasn't stupid. Filing for sanctions without solid legal ground isn't just risky, it's dangerous. Judges don't play around when it comes to manipulating the system. If a lawyer knowingly files a frivolous motion, they could get hit with fines, ethics violations, or even jail time.
It's not up for a judge to deem what's frivolous this early on in a case. That's what the case is for, Ryan. And so you don't get to just throw your power around and keep demanding that it's frivolous and to go away.
And this guy wasn't about to lose his license just to help Hollywood's power couple look innocent. So what did he do? He backed off. Hard.
You guys started this lawsuit. Let's not forget.
And according to insiders, he didn't just back off. He spilled. Sources close to the case say the lawyer started leaking internal details, basically throwing Blake and Ryan under the bus.
Demanding sanctions over the frivolous suit, which is a frivolous request.
Why? Because they backed him into a legal corner, and he wasn't about to let them use him as a shield. He allegedly told someone close to the case, "They wanted me to carry the grenade, but I'm not dying for this PR war."
You were the ones who started the lawsuit, and Justin's proven fairly that a lot of what your wife is saying didn't seem to happen.
And just like that, their strategy collapsed from the inside. What was supposed to be a clean legal takedown of Baldoni suddenly looked like a desperate smear campaign. And now their own lawyer looked like the first casualty. That's the thing about using legal firepower for spin. It can backfire, spectacularly.
Again, he's drowning the court yet again with more high-profile demands to go away. Ryan Reynolds has had enough.
Blake and Ryan thought filing financial sanctions would intimidate Baldoni, that he'd see the word sanction and just walk away. But sanctions aren't magic wands. They're serious legal punishments. And judges don't issue them just because two actors got their feelings hurt. If the court believes your motion is manipulative, you risk serious consequences. And their lawyer clearly saw that risk written all over this case.
Utterly frivolous. I feel like I've read this story 4 times already. Ryan, just take it to court. Get it over with in court. Enough. You're doing just as much PR as Justin's team is, but Justin's defending himself.
Now let's be real. This wasn't just a legal misstep. This was a reputational bomb. Their lawyer refusing to play along sends a loud message to the court and the public. It says, even the people closest to them don't believe this strategy is clean.
So it's different for me. You're constantly out there trying to say, no, we're victims. Believe us, we're victims. I don't believe you are. There's so much more important stuff happening in the world and real abuse.
It turns the spotlight right back onto Blake and Ryan, exposing the fact that this lawsuit might not be about justice at all. It might be about control, controlling the headlines, controlling the narrative, controlling who gets to speak.
But anyway, now he's trying to ask the judge to ding Justin's team financially. But JB has pointed the finger back. Of course, this is all...
And while they tried to present themselves as victims, their legal team unraveling on them makes them look not just guilty, but reckless. Because here's the thing. Once a lawyer starts to fear personal liability, it's usually because they've seen something rotten behind the scenes, something that could get them disbarred if they played along. That's not just a bad look. That's devastating.
This is why we're doing depositions. Dude, you don't get to just end it before he's even gotten to ask people and get the facts.
And let's not forget, this lawyer was the one writing the motions, arguing in court, managing the paperwork. If anyone knew how weak or shady the case was, it was him. And he walked. Or worse, he warned others.
There is enough here to get information. The fact that your team was out there asking Taylor to delete text messages and show support. I mean, Ryan, that looks bad.
This is the kind of internal collapse that makes judges pause. That makes Hollywood insiders whisper. That makes people question everything they've heard from Blake and Ryan's side. Because if their own legal rep doesn't want to be associated with the direction this case is headed, that's not a PR problem. That's a credibility crisis.
But could the real reason for this sudden aggression be because Disney is no longer happy?
At this point, it's not just Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively under fire. It's starting to become Disney's problem. And when you're one of the biggest stars in the world tied to one of the most valuable franchises on Earth, you don't just answer to your fans. You answer to Bob Iger.
Folks are over this It Ends With Us lawsuit, and they want it to stop. And one of those people I hear now from multiple sources is Bob Iger himself, the CEO of Disney. Now, you got to understand.
And according to multiple sources, the Disney CEO is done with Ryan's drama. He's not amused. He's not defending it. He wants it gone, quietly and immediately.
Ryan Reynolds has a very lucrative deal through Fox, through everything that he's in bed with them. They can't afford to cut him loose.
Deadpool and Wolverine is supposed to be the golden goose of 2024. The hype is unmatched. It's Marvel's best chance at bouncing back from back-to-back underperformers. But instead of headlines about ticket sales or teaser trailers, Disney executives are now staring at legal documents and PR disasters. And they're furious.
But they can have a talk and tell him, Ryan, this is not good.
Why? Because this entire lawsuit, with all its scandal, blackmail accusations, and behind-the-scenes chaos, is now bleeding into Disney's reputation. The Mouse House doesn't like mess. It doesn't like risk. And it definitely doesn't like being linked to a celebrity who's trending for all the wrong reasons.
Confirming that, yes, Bob Iger himself and Disney have been trying to get Ryan Reynolds to drop this nonsense. Just like Taylor Swift, just like everybody else involved, nobody wants to be involved in this.
Sources say Bob Iger has personally stepped in, reportedly telling Ryan Reynolds to wrap this thing up. Quietly, cleanly, like a professional. No more filings. No more press. No more pretending you're the victim while the studio takes heat. Just shut it down.
Nobody wants to be involved in this. And now they've put on a brave face. They have made it clear they're not going to play nice pool with Justin over these Deadpool requests of getting information from the film. But it's just as right.
And if you need proof that Disney's top brass is over it, just look at how quickly they've started to distance themselves. Promotional material for Deadpool and Wolverine has been suspiciously bland. Social media silence. No funny Deadpool tweets to distract the crowd. And Ryan? He's gone from Marvel's most beloved jokester to the studio's biggest liability, fast.
They're throwing out Taylor Swift's extortion claim, but Taylor Swift still is pretty quiet, isn't she?
It's not hard to see why Iger's getting nervous. This isn't some minor tabloid drama. It's a full-blown legal disaster, one that now includes accusations of mockery, retaliation, sanction threats, and even pressure on Taylor Swift to delete evidence. And at the center of it all is the guy Disney just bet $1 billion franchise on.
And she's very litigious. Her team doesn't mess around. Why are they still so quiet, Ryan? Because you guys are trying to force down a narrative and we are refusing.
Ryan Reynolds is more than a face of a character. He is Deadpool. And that's the problem. His off-screen behavior is now being dissected with the same intensity as the box office projections. And Bob Iger knows that if this lawsuit drags any further into 2024, Deadpool and Wolverine won't just be a movie. It'll be a scandal magnet.
And now it's affecting your work. Now it's affecting your boss.
That's why Taylor Swift's silence is now seen as the smart move. She stepped back, didn't make statements, didn't engage, and in doing so, protected herself and the people around her. Disney reportedly wanted Ryan to follow her lead, to drop it quietly, to let the courts do what they need to do while he stayed out of the spotlight. But Ryan didn't listen. Or maybe he couldn't.
Over at Disney, which you finally got to step in with this big, huge, successful movie, but now you can't even post an Instagram post without leaving the comments on. You have to turn them off. Like, this is not good for your brand, brother. This is not.
Because here's the truth. No one wants to say out loud. Ryan's ego is on trial too.
Divorce is gonna come in a couple years. So is that what's really happening? Is this all just him aggressively, stubbornly trying to prove we were right, trying to just continue to scream and threaten to the last minute? Because that's what this screams like to me.
This isn't just a legal battle anymore. It's personal. Ryan is out here filing sanctions, attacking Justin Baldoni's team, turning off Instagram comments, and still trying to paint himself as the injured party. But each new move is making it worse. And Disney sees that. They see the headlines. They see the comment sections. They see the growing backlash. And they're asking the same question the rest of us are asking. Why is Ryan still fighting this?
Whatever narrative you and other high-profile celebrities demand we follow. No.
Why not just let the lawyers handle it behind the scenes? Why not take the hit and focus on your movie? Why not listen to the company that gave you the biggest paycheck of your career? Because it's not about justice anymore. It's about control.
If anybody's thin-skinned, it's you and Blake.
Ryan Reynolds has spent years building a carefully crafted image. The likable guy, the funny one, the relatable dad with the charming banter. But now that image is slipping. And instead of letting go, he's tightening his grip, even if it means dragging Disney down with him.
Ryan to court referenced the satirical woke nice pool character, which JB thought was an obvious shot. It was. Again, I've spoken to crew. They were like, oh my God, when I saw Deadpool Wolverine, even before the internet figured it out, I was like, that's clearly mocking Justin.
And Disney isn't having it. They know how fast public sentiment can turn. They watched what happened with Johnny Depp, with Ezra Miller, with Jonathan Majors. They know that one wrong step, one viral headline, one internal email leak, and the entire marketing plan collapses. The stakes are just too high.
They've all confirmed this, and you know it, Ryan. You absolutely know it. So yeah, given everything that's happening, retaliation, campaign, all these things that are out there, he has every right to figure out how involved were you in this at the end to mock Justin and make this.
Now, let's talk about the joke that could cost Ryan Reynolds everything. The so-called nice pool character from Deadpool. What looked like a throwaway gag in a superhero movie might actually be the pettiest revenge plot in Hollywood, because behind the mask and the one-liners, there's a much nastier story, one that now has legal consequences.
Ryan already filed a motion to be dropped, but it's clear from the latest filing he wants to send a message that JB's team overstepped. Oh, you think? Well, we'll see. We'll see if these sanctions are met, Ryan. Good luck with that.
So here's what really went down. Justin Baldoni, an actor and director known for his indie film N Pool, was already in the middle of a tense, behind-the-scenes fallout with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Lawsuits had started flying. Allegations were on the table. And what did Ryan do? He allegedly used his next Marvel movie to mock Baldoni publicly, without ever saying his name.
They are a desperate ploy for clickbait headlines that have no place in federal court. Why do you keep putting out headlines too? What is this even a response to? Anyway, so...
That's punching down. And that's exactly what he claimed. On record, that he never does.
And then so that's where I got the lesson to never apologize. Never.
And if you're listening right now,
ground.
don't.
Let's not forget, Ryan once gave this big dramatic podcast speech about how he regrets ever punching down. He said he did it once, 22 years ago, and he learned his lesson. He said it left a scar. He said he never wanted to be that guy again. But here he is, allegedly turning one of the most beloved anti-heroes in pop culture into a tool for personal revenge. And now, that joke might become Exhibit A in court.
I'm angry with them. I'm frustrated with them because they refuse to take accountability, and they are using their Hollywood power to just stomp on people. And then they're using people I like, Conan O'Brien, to put out their message.
Because Baldoni's legal team can show that this character was a targeted, retaliatory attack, a way of mocking or discrediting him during an ongoing lawsuit, that changes everything. It proves intent. It proves malice. It proves that Ryan didn't just make a bad judgment call. He used his power to harm someone's career.
I'm just frustrated. Why are you out there doing this stuff? You really need the attention this badly?
That opens the door to a whole new level of legal risk. We're not just talking about defamation here. We're talking about retaliatory action, abuse of platform, and even obstruction if it's tied to the wider lawsuit narrative. All for what? A laugh? A wink to Blake?
Dad's dad was a bully. I don't think, it's too far off to say you've done some bullyish things yourself.
And here's the kicker. Fans noticed. The internet noticed. The second nice pool hit the screen, people online started connecting it to N pool. Reddit threads popped up. YouTube breakdowns followed. The narrative wrote itself. And suddenly, the conversation wasn't about Deadpool's wit. It was about Ryan Reynolds weaponizing his success.
This part about Ryan Reynolds not punching down. Really, Ryan? Come on. I liked you, Ryan. I'm so frustrated by all this.
Which brings us back to the bigger problem. Ryan keeps pretending he's the good guy, the charming guy, the husband of the year. But behind the sarcasm and the smooth PR, there's a pattern. Mocking people below him, silencing critics, and using Hollywood like it's his playground.
No idea. This was before you don't just Google someone.
Yeah, why not? Yes, you could.
I didn't know.
So you mocked him, and then your apology was to send him
ruined his
the
life.
substance
This.
that he had successfully kicked.
Fuck me. I really... And then so that's where I got the lesson to never apologize.
Now, if you thought the Deadpool mockery was petty, wait until you hear this. Ryan Reynolds allegedly tried to force Justin Baldoni and James onto the chopping block with a fake statement. A gaslighting stunt so bold, it could have ended careers if anyone had actually signed it. The statement was simple on the surface. We take full responsibility for the chaos on set. But here's the problem. There was no chaos.
Currently doing it. That's what's so frustrating. Typically, I would just, if I didn't know all the information, I'd laugh along with him and be like, ha ha ha.
Multiple insiders, and even Blake Lively herself, publicly stated that production ran smoothly. The second half of the shoot? Described as problem-free in Blake's own interviews. And yet, Ryan still drafted a document claiming the exact opposite, and wanted Justin and James to co-sign it like it was the truth. That's not a legal strategy. That's an ambush.
He did punch someone down. Unclear who it is. Sleuthers, let's figure it out. Punch someone down, and then gives him champagne. Granted, okay, I'll accept maybe that was an accident, which puts him back on the wagon. And then this whole thing is just I never did it since. It left such a mark on me.
According to sources close to the situation, this wasn't just a draft passed around for feedback. This was a pressure tactic, a weapon disguised as a joint statement. Ryan allegedly pushed hard to get it approved, not just by Justin and James, but by reps at Sony. And their response? A blunt warning. Do not sign this. It's career suicide. And they weren't exaggerating.
Thin-skinned outrage over the horrific characterization of fake feminist Nice Pool, which reports are that you did shoot later in production, Ryan. Nice Pool may have been around, but you clearly morphed him into little jokes about Justin.
Signing that document would have meant admitting to chaos that never happened, placing blame on themselves, and giving Blake a free pass. It would have validated her side of the story while erasing the real one. And worst of all, it would have publicly destroyed Justin's credibility, branding him the cause of a problem that never existed. It was never about taking responsibility. It was about shifting it from Ryan and Blake onto someone less powerful, someone they thought would roll over. But Justin didn't.
Praying that you've been tricked by your wife and you're in a tricky situation, and that's all this was. But guys, it is brutal when you really go this. You wanted to make him write this statement, blaming all of the bad publicity on him.
The most disturbing part is how calculated this move was. Think about it. Ryan wasn't asking for a public apology from the person who wronged him. He was demanding one from the person he was trying to bury. This wasn't "let's find peace." This was "sign this or we'll make it worse." And he almost got away with it. The only reason he didn't? People behind the scenes, Sony reps, legal teams, producers, who saw it for what it was. A setup, a trap, a way to rewrite the timeline and come out looking clean, even if it meant torching someone else's future.
That Ryan drafted, that he demanded James and Justin post, which would have completely torched their career. And I want you to look at it again.
Ryan didn't back off after this flopped either. He didn't apologize. He didn't reflect. He doubled down. He kept pushing the narrative that Baldoni was thin-skinned, that the backlash to Deadpool's jokes was overblown, that this was all some misunderstanding. But if you've already drafted a document asking someone to fake accountability for you, that's not a misunderstanding. That's manipulation.
That's a lie, Ryan. That's an absolute lie. Plus, your own wife said it was smooth sailing in the second half of production, and the movie was a big hit. Whether you want to let Blake take all the credit, I know you do, Justin had a lot to do with it as well.
And let's be clear, this wasn't just bad optics. This could have been used in court. If Justin had signed, it would have completely undermined any future legal claims. It would have made it nearly impossible for him to defend himself.
Very sorry to everyone we caused upset to privately publicly. Who else is complaining but Blake? No one else is complaining but Blake.
While Ryan Reynolds scrambles to hold on to his image, Justin Baldoni's reputation is quietly rising, and it's doing so without a PR team, without blockbuster premieres, and without the noise. In fact, it's happening because he's not playing the game. While Ryan is out here filing motions, silencing critics, and flipping the victim card, Justin's silence has started to speak louder than any press statement ever could.
What? What on earth planet would anyone agree to this vague generalization that would have torched their careers? What are they apologizing for?
People are noticing. The guy who was once painted as the problem is now being seen for what he really is. A calm, grounded presence in the middle of a Hollywood firestorm. Even as he deals with legal bills, career obstacles, and a mountain of stress, Justin hasn't resorted to character attacks or damage control. He's stayed close to his family, kept his circle tight, and let the facts and the court do the talking.
This would be career suicide. And what are you apologizing for? And that's not the only one, is it? Let's go back to TJ Miller.
And I think some people...
Do you know he hates
We
you?
had a really weird moment on Deadpool where he said, let's do one more take. And everyone was like, okay. And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And then as the character, he was like horrifically mean to me.
And that quiet resistance? It's gaining traction. He's not showing up in court flailing for headlines. He's not launching personal attacks. And unlike Ryan, he's not using movies or media platforms to mock or retaliate. He's just enduring. And in a world obsessed with outrage and spectacle, that kind of calm strength stands out. On the flip side, Ryan can't even post without turning off his comment section. That's not just a PR move. That's a red flag. When the guy who built an empire off charm and wit suddenly can't face his audience, something's clearly broken. His brand, once untouchable, is now in a full-blown meltdown. And fans aren't fooled. The damage is visible, and it's growing with every headline.
Or he's so deluded that he's like, everybody loves me. Everybody likes me. So TJ probably just wishes that he could work with me again. Bay's like that too, though. Wahlberg talked to me about that, who Bay would never understand why you wouldn't want to work with him.
The contrast between them couldn't be more brutal. One man is focused on rebuilding, the other on rebranding. Justin has leaned into authenticity. Ryan has leaned into spin. And in a time when audiences crave honesty more than ever, that difference matters. Even Andy Signor, who's followed this case from the beginning, put it perfectly. Just apologize. Let the man go live his life. That's all it would have taken. A shred of accountability. A single moment of humility. But Ryan can't, or won't, give it. And the longer he resists, the more isolated he becomes. Meanwhile, Justin's support is only growing. He's become a symbol, not just of surviving Hollywood politics, but of standing your ground when it's easier to cave. Whether or not he wins the lawsuit, he's already won something else, the respect of the people watching. And that kind of reputation? It's harder to build than any franchise, and much harder to fake. Now tell me, whose side are you on? The power couple with PR armor, or the man quietly taking all the hits? Let us know in the comments below.